Hello and welcome to episode 50 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough, cycle 85, day 25. And we have 10.5 days left in our current bad tide. Episode 50, huh? Yeah, remember when I said this was going to be the end of the series? Well, it's clearly not going to be, because we still have some stuff we got to take care of. But we're going to do what we can do, make the progress that we can make, and not sweat the details. Unless they're details that are relevant to us making progress. So, we have, for all intents and purposes, food production quote-unquote complete, although it's not really complete. It is complete, but it's not complete. I know that probably doesn't make any sense. But what I mean by that is, we are making every type of food. It might not be enough production technically to support 1,000 beavers, but we're doing pretty well. And right now the biggest problem for us is water. And we have 11,000. It is going to be depleted in 34 days. So we're not going to run out. But if the goal is to provide water for 1,000 beavers for at least a full maximum length bad tide, drought, whatever, so on and so forth. I know a couple of you want to see back-to-back bad tides and droughts of that length completely taken care of. We're going to have to figure out a couple more things. So let's right off the bat peel back our layers here and talk a little bit about what I've done to create this reservoir within a reservoir. There's at least a few of you who are convinced that, okay, I have to have that at that level, that this still isn't enough edges for all of the inflow. So what I will do is I will take this levee out. Oh, I can't do that because I built something on top of it. Oh, good, it's just a thing. So we'll have to take that out with this. But by doing that, that will give me one additional layer, one additional edge for water to come out, and that's totally fine. I want to make sure we can get every last bit out that we can possibly get out. And I am going to have to just check real quick. Make sure there is no way for water to have any edge to go down that could be causing us issues here. I know you can't see our impermeable floors, but they are here. Every single one of these tiles does have it. It's just that it's hard to see on this thing, and it won't show up until I go to level 18. But then the terrain's going to be in the way, and it won't be a thing. So it looks fine. It looks fine here. This just goes straight up until we get to this level, and then this goes out, and then that can go out that way. Now it gets one more level here, and then of course we have 3 edges, 4, 5, now 6. So 6 times 2.2 is more than 12. And if we go all the way down here to where we have our sources, there's only 2 blocks. Dev mode will tell us strength of 3, strength of 3. So we really don't even need what we have. I am out of dev mode for the record, but that it might not do anything. But at this point, now that we've done that, I know, and those of you who asked know that we've tried it. Even if it does nothing, we've at least taken that step, so we know that that has been achieved. Outside of that, I've been asked how much blueberry storage we have, and I do not know, so let's find out. The answer is 0. Okay. Well, that wouldn't solve all of our problems, but it certainly would help, considering how many of these are drying out, almost dying, and then definitely dying each and every cycle. And this is another one of those reasons why I really wanted to expand this. But as you can see, it's not irrigating every level below this, which is interesting. Because I figured since this level is all fine, maybe it's because our vertical columns here aren't all playing nice. So if I see, you guys had some ideas too that maybe I could try putting in tunnels on some of these pillars here, so that it would irrigate the base land, and then that would help. Because this right now, this is probably why we're having problems with berries. It keeps dying every time. So I'm going to take the leap of faith. I'm going to take those two out. Those two out. Remember, the tunnel is going to immediately replace this with the platform. It's not going to be an issue. So we'll try those two. If that makes a difference, then I'll do it for a couple more pillars. But I know for a fact it can't really hurt that much. And if it does, we can just, put it back. Yeah, the berries are an issue. And there's some of you who said, oh, just plant them on higher levels. Well, yeah, I'd love to, but the foresters only have so much range, and I can't build those without taking out multiple levels of stuff. And at this stage, it's really not... The juice isn't worth the squeeze, I guess, if that makes sense. Alright, so this right here, I thought I had... Oh, they haven't finished this. Okay. That's what's happening here. And I know we still have to plant more mangroves. They're working on this here. We've got, I guess these need to be unplanted. I had forgotten to do that because I don't really feel like, you know, trying to weasel another forester over here. It's a huge pain. I know I should have maybe done this a little bit differently. Wait, why does this say it's not reachable to anything? This should be... Ah, okay, okay. I see what happened here. That was a problem. Okay, well now it's not a problem. Now I've got 2 more gatherer flags in the middle. And that's connected there, so this should be a whole lot easier. I'm very curious to see what happens when we explode these bottom things. If it's going to immediately irrigate down here, that would be so great if it did. And I'm sure you guys would love to be proven correct, and that would be a win for everybody involved. So that one's there. Let's wait until this one gets finished before I make a final value judgment on this decision. Alright, so that's done. And it looks like that fixed our problem. Very good. Yeah, okay, we managed to save a whole lot of these berry bushes. Not all of them. But yeah, thank you for suggesting that. I really appreciate it. And this one can actually reach all the way to the corner. So that is what I will do, is I will just plant all of these as blueberries. And this should, well, not everything is, you know, reaching the corner, but this will be a big help. Because we're going to need a lot more berries, and we're going to need to have somewhere to store them, because I forgot I hadn't even made one. Okay, well, this corner's not irrigated anyhow, so why don't we do this? Let's put a large berry warehouse, because this seems to be non-irrigated. Yeah, let's put this right here. And let's put in a... Oh, it's about to die anyway, so I guess that's fine. Get through the rest of the night here. 30 times speed has been causing some problems with beavers dying of starvation, even though we have 18,000 food. So I'm going to try to use it only sparingly. We're not going to run a whole cycle with it or anything. But the way this is set up now, let's... take out those 3. I guess technically 5, but berry storage down here where the berries are being grown in an area, the storage being in an area that is not really going to be accessible for planting, should be fine. So I'll just make this nice and simple, put a tiny tubeway station right there, and then just give them a little path to go in. That should help. Because once we have all these berries that can be picked and actually stored somewhere, it might make things just a little bit better. Alright, so back up to the top level. You guys have been asking for quite some time to have some tubeways up here, and it is absolutely my fault that that has not happened. I've been attempting to, you know, just get stuff taken care of. And we have these ladders in the corners here. I haven't decided yet if it needs to go up any more, and that's one of the reasons why I had kind of avoided doing anything here. But seeing how this has progressed, I think what's going to make the most sense... Come on. Yeah, now this is really starting to lag. It's going to make the most sense for us to have one of these in the corner. Still trying to figure out exactly how I can get this accomplished, because I have to have stations they can get to. Yeah, it's gonna be ugly. Gonna be kind of just ugly for a while. But as I always say, trust the process. This can't block that off. This can block this off, though. Now, just get that there. This will have to be finagled. What a great word. It's just gonna be. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Don't need to keep making excuses for everything. 53, well-being there. Yeah, I'm just going to have to do this in every single corner, huh? That will go there. Put that right there. Get the tiny tubeway station here. Get that there. And then to get our stuff back into that side, I'll just end up doing that. I do think there's value to having one in the center here. So what might make sense, instead of having the scratcher here, just take that out. Instead, put a tiny two-way station there. Then I can just have a 6x1 and a 6x1. We'll just do that. And we'll do that. And we will start by having this completely connected all the way across. That will be a good starting point. We don't have a ton of metal because I haven't made a lot of storage for metal, but you know how it goes. We'll be alright. These berries are definitely better now that we've got... Oh, wow, look at that. Now we got 715 in storage. What a deal, huh? Imagine that. You put storage for stuff and it's actually going to be usable. What a concept. Alright, so now we've kind of established maybe not the best solution ever, but it is a viable solution. Something, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Well, I can't say we've all seen City Planner plays, but I've certainly watched enough of him to have that ingrained in my brain at this point. I love lag. Alright, I'm going to have to hit pause just so I can actually build this. And that's the other kind of challenging thing about doing a playthrough like this, is it's just going to be a slow process. Oh, that's right. I forgot I had to have that here. Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. There's no reason for us to be worried about it. Put that on the outside. Path there to connect. Tiny Tubeway station. What a great mod, honestly. I know we had our problems with it before because of... Well, I guess I'll chalk that up to user error. That's not necessarily the mod's fault. Just get that there, get that there. Yes, I do realize that I'm not going to be able to get the straight across here because we have this mess here. But I told you it's going to be ugly. You'll see how I'm going to solve that problem in a little bit. Now, right here in the middle, we can get away with doing one of these numbers here, where I have a station facing into the ladder. Real easy. There we go. And now to get across this way, all I've got to do is just go over the ladder, and then I have to get this set up here. 6x1. 6x1. Where's that going to put me in the middle? Okay, yeah, you know what? I can't be mad about that. I've already got a ladder here going down. We don't need any more pumps. In fact, I think, and some of you agree, that these pumps in the middle here are already outpacing the supplies. We don't need to add any more. I know there's at least one person who is excited to have another pump put in, but I think for where we are now, it's going to have to be good enough. So this will be a tiny two-way station. Now, come on, you didn't put it down. There you go. Where do I have the ladder rungs facing that way? Okay, we'll go like this. Just get that there. And then this very easily can go there. Actually, no, this end piece here needs to be a vertical tubeway. And then this just goes right on top. Is it ugly? Actually, you know what? It's not that bad. I was expecting it to look substantially worse. There we go. Let's get that situated. Okay, so that's going to have to be good enough, at least for right now. Let's do the same over here, and then I already have this ladder. See how nice it is when this stuff just works out? You don't have to be worried about it. That's a very good feeling. Okay, so that's going to go there. Oh, yes. Look at this. Again, it's not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but hey, if it works, it works. Sometimes that's almost more important. Just get that popped there, and there, and there. Folks, that's going to be 2 ways around the upper level. I know we could maybe go through the center, but I don't have that big column of vertical 2 ways here anymore, so I don't think that's going to be necessary. It may end up being smart for us to... see, no, that's not even going up. How hard would it be to connect? I don't really even have any over here. I've got this, and I've got that. For where we are now, though, I think this is going to be okay. We'll at least let them build this and then move on with our lives. Checking the list. Let's see. We done that. We done that. We done that. We done that. Let's see. We've definitely done that. Okay, one thing I said, I don't know, 10 episodes ago we never did, is that I would put a bell in. And I have not done that. So I figured, you know what? We'll just put one up here. This just dings at the start and the end of the workday. That's all it does, but somebody asked and I said I'd do it and I haven't done it yet, and I don't want to be a liar, so that's where that's going to go. Hemp berries looking good. Food is, yeah, well now we have all these berries in here. Food's looking a whole lot better. Got 7 days left in the drought. Bad tide, same difference for the purposes of our water pumping at least. And we're down to 6,600 water. We have 566 beavers. The number keeps growing, by the way, so maybe we don't need to add any more breeding pods for a while. We'll see. I'd kind of hoped to have a whole bunch of water in storage before I got close to 1,000 beavers, because I figured that would have been a little bit easier. Oh, I never turned this off. So they've actually almost completed this. Okay, all the materials are there at least. That's good. Because I still need to build 3 more of those. Oh, lag. Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, not to be that guy who only time lapses, but yes, we're going to have to do quite a bit of that. So I'm going to let them get these tubeways finished. And hopefully the end of this bad tide as well. And we're going to see how our reservoir looks as we are hopefully able to pump as much as we can here. And I do have one more thing I want to do, but we'll talk about that after the time-lapse is finished. I'll see you on the other side. Alright, so we have 1 day left in our bad tide, and we are out of water. Let's hit pause. Let's take stock of where we are with our hydroponic farms, because those should still have a little bit of water in them. We can get that back out. Those are all the way down here. Hydroponic gardens. Are these, every single one of them already paused? Well, if that's the case, then I'm actually kind of I'm kind of in trouble here. Alrighty then. Let's see. Oh, there's 14 water in here to make coffee. All right, so something has gone horribly wrong with my ability to do math. Very, very curious what's happened here, because now, I mean, the beavers aren't going to die of thirst in a single day. But if we don't have enough thirsty beavers to operate the pumps, this could go very badly very quickly. But there's nothing else we can do at this point. I thought I was going to be able to, to pause a whole bunch of those things. Alright, so back on triple speed it goes. But this is going to be a very interesting problem for us to solve. I guess I might as well go ahead and say right now, these levees here are going to need to have a second layer. Because, as you guys pointed out in the comments, with this only at one layer, these corner pieces will never be completely full. Because they're only ever going to be as full as the height of the water inside. And if the water is already going down this hole to get to the mangroves, then it's never going to get high enough. So, we did need to make sure that we had everything set up where this would still be fine. And these are spreading as they should, so that's looking okay. But this lower level here is getting pretty low. This is the last level before it goes down. So I sure hope, for the sake of all of our mangrove trees, that we're able to get a whole lot of water in here, because now all these ooh, yeah, all these crops are done. Okay, good choices. Good choices have been made. Boy, it would be terrible if we spent 50 episodes doing this only to find out that it's, completely unviable at the very end. But the math was done for me, and I know it's going to work. So, yes, look at all these thirsty beavers. Part of me wants to think I've just done something wrong with my hydroponic farms being built too soon or having the population get too big a little bit too quickly. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not going to lose hope just yet. But it's interesting to see this come together like this. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I have 2,700 raw algae. I have 2,400 raw mushrooms. I don't need to run the hydroponic farms for this next little bit. So maybe we can Maybe we can have a cycle just completely using the water for drinking purposes. I'm going to turn off this coffee brewery as well, so we don't worry about that. Now it's cycle 86. And we are going to see, yep, here comes water. Filling up, still surging way over here, but I have to believe this is enough flow. It's plenty of edges. We already did the math. And these guys are pumping away, so, you know, it's going to get better. It's going to be okay. And they did put these two levee pieces in, so I think we're going to be all right. It's just a little bit of a weird situation to find ourselves in, being this low, this soon. So maybe it did have something to do with not having enough edges for all of this water to flow out. I really hope at this point this is enough. I mean, I have to believe it is. It just seems like that would be fine. If not, we can continue to make adjustments. This is still, it's still very full coming out of here. So, you know what? Maybe it needs more edges. What's above here that I could really... Yeah, because this is a thing. Do I have anything on top of this? No. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is take this impermeable floor out. Okay, well, it's not surging up over it, so I guess that's enough edges, because if it didn't have enough flow, then it would still be spilling over the top here. Yeah, so the water is not getting all the way over, so I think we're actually out-pumping the source. To a certain extent. Maybe not all the time. I do see this filling up a little bit more now that it's overnight and these beavers are all sleeping. So maybe that's going to have to be our strategy to get this thing filled up is, you know, only let them pump for their 16 hours a day minus transit time. Huh. Well, we'll see what happens. Remember, this is a learning experience for you as it is for me. Just need to make sure none of these beavers die of thirst. But maybe this is a good opportunity for us to, you know, not expand population for a little bit. Oh boy, I may have to time-lapse another 5 or 6 cycles just to get that water stock back up. In terms of capacity, I've got 60,000. The math seems to suggest we needed closer to 100,000 completely full to accomplish what I'd wanted to do with this. And we did want to build additional tanks. But if we're not filling up what we already have, there's no sense using those materials on that. So instead, since we have this first one complete, and I don't have any other projects being built right now, I think I'm going to unpause this Earth Repopulator. Get them to put all of these materials in place, especially the metal blocks and the treated planks, because those take a long time to get made. I can't really expand too much else. What is this? Why does this one say it can't be? Ah, they don't have a way to get around it. Okay. That's kind of... Why would I have done it like that? So I guess what I will have to do is put platforms in here, in case I want to expand this anyway. That should be fine. Okay, yeah, we're up to almost 5,000 water, so I guess that was just a little bit of weirdness based on how we had everything else going. But they sure are sucking up all of the water that's, you know, coming out of here, period, point blank. All right. Now, again, not to be that guy, but I think it's time-lapse time again, folks. I got to be able to be sure that this is going to actually work. And I'm not going to drag this series out for another 10,000 episodes. 1, I don't want to. 2, you absolutely don't. Okay, there's probably 1 or 2 of you that would watch this if it was 800 episodes. 99.999% of you would be like, all right, dude, get out of here. At that point, once we get to, maybe you're probably already even there, some of you, I'm sure. But I'm gonna let them probably, if nothing goes wrong, I'm gonna let them time-lapse this entire cycle, and then we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get a pretty short bad tide or drought on the other side of this to help us, you know, not get quite as weird here. I may have to start turning off breeding pods just to get the population down a little bit. In fact, I think I will at some point during this time lapse, because honestly, we have 140-something beavers that do not have any jobs. So we know, like, the maintenance level of beavers here to actually accomplish goals is probably around 440, 430. And it could be lower than that if we really wanted to. But we're going to have to stock up a whole lot of water before we make our final push here. So I'm going to let them do what they got to do. I don't know how long this time lapse is going to be. It's going to be at least as long as I've been talking. I might have to cut it and do something else. We're going to see what happens. All right, cycle 87 begins. Let's hit pause. You might have noticed that the population has been declining sharply. That's because I paused all but 6 of the breeding pods. I started up by pausing 12 of them. That didn't slow the growth at all. So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go down to 6. We'll see what happens. We already have extra beavers anyway, and we clearly need to make some modifications to our water pumping and storage system, because this is not going to cut the mustard, or anything for that matter, when we get to 1,000 beavers. So, the reason I've hit pause is you might also have seen the mangrove fruit numbers are very, very low. I don't think they would have died by drying out, but we need to check before we let any water in or out of here. So we'll just go all the way down here. Okay, yeah, a pretty good number of them have died. And the rest of these, 6.4 days. Because this was still irrigated even though they weren't wet. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Well, first of all, this is not great news. But this may have given me the courage to say, you know what? We don't need to worry about having this many mangrove trees here. I might have to cut the size of this down. This is a lot of evaporation, first of all. It's a lot of surface area. It does help irrigate things. But as you can see, the only stuff that's still irrigated is this corner here. If we come up, we see there is still the water left over in the pipe that is doing all of this. And there's really not that much. Actually, that's just because this turned back on. So maybe, I don't know, maybe everything was completely dry. Let's check our little irrigation corners here. Yeah, this is the only one that had anything left in it. Which tells me that these over here did not have more than maybe a tile worth of depth. And this one is, wow, that's all that evaporated in 21 days? Huh. Okay, so here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to pause a bunch of these pumps. I'm going to just pause everything on this end. And we're going to have to get some water back in here. The trees that are already dead aren't going to become undead if they get wet again. So I'm not going to worry about, you know, rushing to get water way down in there, but we are going to have some. So, you know what? I'm glad we did this now. I'm glad we tested this before we got to a whole bunch of beavers, because that would have been such a letdown if we had 1,000 beavers. They're like, oh, you only made it 5 days. You're stupid. Like, okay, well, we already kind of knew that. But I think what's going to make the most sense, since we have fewer beavers, we need to get water in the reserve section. We need to let this fill up enough so it overfills. Overfills, not overfulls. That's the wrong, it's probably not even conjugation. I don't know. I haven't taken an English class in forever. Oh, Americans can't even speak their own language. Yeah, I know. It's fine. I'm going to let this pan out like this. This is like, I don't know, less than a third, maybe 25% of the pumps we just shut off. We're going to see what happens. Like I said, the stuff that's already dead isn't going to come back just because it gets wet, so there's no rush, but we do need to arrive at a decision about what we're going to do with these mangroves. I personally really liked the idea of expanding this. I thought that was fine, but it very well could be that we are going to have to reduce this size again. I guess I'll leave that for you guys to decide in the comments, but this is proving a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. And some of you guys who have done similar things seem to suggest that about 500 is more or less the maximum that you can sustain long term. And we were at like 580, 590 or something for a while. And it seemed to be kind of okay, but we were using a lot of water to irrigate these mangroves. And we were, before I paused all of them, using a lot of water to do all these hydroponic farms. And they've been paused for an entire cycle, basically a cycle and a half. And we still have 1,100 raw mushrooms and 1,800 raw algae, and everything else has been perfectly fine. So I'm honestly not sure what I should be doing here. Obviously, there's still plenty more that has to get done in terms of pumping, getting as much water stored as we possibly can, and just continuing to organize things. But I don't want to charge forward just for the sake of being finished with this playthrough without knowing that we've done everything we can to make it good. So, they have been very slowly building the second Earth repopulator. I know we still have to do these other two corners, and I have to do something about our industrial area. But for how things are right now, I think the answer is just going to have to be time. So, and I don't have time to, do 7, 8, 9 hours a couple times a week worth of time-lapsing on this. And I am genuinely not trying to stretch this out any longer than it has to go. But I think to do this correctly, it's going to take just a little bit more time. So here's what I'd like to do for the rest of today. I would like to continue trying to get our water on an upward trajectory. I don't think there's anything else I can do to modify or change what we've done. We just need to have fewer beavers and just stockpile as much as we can. Stop using quite as much of it, and that should help a little bit. So I'm just going to have to keep time-lapsing. I know, folks, I know. Some of you are going to be absolutely ecstatic to see more time-lapsing occurring, but I know there's some of you who don't like it. That's fine. We'll get things done. But that's the way things go when you do one of these crazy, weird challenge series like this. You never really know exactly what's going to happen. Sometimes something cool happens, sometimes nothing cool happens. And sometimes you figure out that you really have no idea what you're doing. That does seem to be the case a lot of the time. But I'm going to give this one more cycle. Hopefully it's a short trout or bad tide, or we're never going to get anywhere. But I'm going to let the population keep shrinking a little bit. Let the water hopefully come up enough to spill over to that bottom level and get things irrigated. And we'll just go from there. We'll see what the beavers can take care of and advance the best that we know how. The good news, though, is that just about everything else has been taken care of. There's a little bit more with well-being we could probably do. I still haven't figured out where to put swimming pools or anything like that. Maybe that could be a good thing to do on the bottom level where we have the mangroves. If we're not going to grow so many trees, I can at least kind of section those areas off so that they won't ever draw more water away from the reservoir. But while they are still irrigated, we could put pools in there. I don't know. We've got different things to do. But in just a moment, we'll come out of this time-lapse, and we will regroup and see exactly what it is we're going to be able to continue doing with this, because I honestly don't know. All right, cycle 88 has begun. We are over 2 hours into this recording. I have no idea how long the video is at this point, but it can't be very long because most of this has been time-lapses. So here's what I learned observing this last cycle. One, we peel this back. All of this water, of course, has evaporated, but we still have almost a full block of height here, and that is exactly how that was supposed to go down. So I do love to see that. Obviously, there is no water in here, and there is no water in here, and all of these trees are dead. That is regrettable. However, the crops are all looking fantastic because we managed to get everything figured out with regard to the irrigation up top. And because we've cut our number of beavers by over 200 since the start of this episode, I think this is probably about where we're going to have to limit our population decline, because we do... Somehow we got to 54. I don't know how that happened. Because we do have to turn the rest of these pumps back on after a certain point. Here's what I want to do. Let's hit pause. We can talk about it, and I can zoom in without losing my mind. If we go all the way back down here to our mangrove, or what used to be the mangrove level, I think as fun as it has been to have this expanded thing, it's too much evaporation. We're going to have to get rid of it. So what's going to need to happen here is, I think we have an opportunity, depending on how we want to do this. Take a look at our well-being. We can put some swimming pools in along this side here, and we're not really going to have a great way to put more than one of these in every gap, but it's something, right? So the reason I can't put it in here is, well, you know what? I guess I could. But if we do this here, what I was going to do is just along this strip and this strip, put back in levees with one dam piece, maybe in the middle, so that excess water in here can flow out to the outside and get the pools all ready to go. And then we have a little bit less of an area that's actually drawing water out from our secondary reservoir. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this, which, depending on how we want to have this set up, could cause some issues. But I would like to try to put some pools in here. So obviously, every single dead tree must go. That has to be removed. And it can be replanted. But you know what? We've got all these beavers who are builders who aren't doing anything anyway. We can get them out of there. Oh, hey, guess what? Beef-a-boom. Oh, no sound. Also, during the time-lapse, the bell sound kind of broke. So, I don't know, maybe you run the game so long at such a speed, then the sounds are just like, alright, I'm out. Which is objectively kind of funny. But I think, given how this is set up, we may run into issues with irrigation if I have this entire ring pushed back, which is why I only want to do these sides. Because this is currently longer this way than it is this way, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, it's just the best I can come up with, honestly. So, I am going to need to... I am going to need to replace these platforms, which is going to be an interesting thing we're going to have to deal with here. I think probably what's going to make the most sense is for me to do this. Build that up, which is going to then, I think, allow me to take this out and replace it with either a piece of dirt or a levee. I'm probably thinking a levee so it irrigates a little bit better. And then that's the only one I have to do that with over here, and then we have to do the same thing over here as well, just to make sure we can actually get something accomplished. But they're going to take care of that. They're going to, you know, they're just going to have to do their best. That's really all we can do. And depending on how I want to have this put in here, we might have to move where these paths are going in. You know, it's kind of a weird scenario with how this has been set up. I'm honestly not really happy with it. But it's episode 50. I can't go back and completely change everything. Remember, this is a learning experience. It's never going to be something that was completely perfect. Can acknowledge that and be totally fine with that. We don't have access. Ah, well, you know, that would substantially hamper our progress. Oh boy. Okay. So they definitely needed to get some help coming through here to get all this taken out. That should allow them to reach just about everything, if I am thinking correctly. Still not enough? Alright, I guess that's fine. I'll just put a couple more squares in here, and that's just going to have to be how it is. I hope that's enough. Alright, so that's done. Now, if I were to click this... Okay, good. That's the only thing that's going to get removed. I was a little afraid of what might end up happening here. So, because this is... Yeah, see, that's going to be kind of a pain. We're going to have to tunnel this, which won't be an issue because this will be popped in. But before we worry too much about that, I should probably get the rest of this in. And remember what I was saying about our overflow dams here and there. It's going to give as much of a space as possible here. Yeah, same exact kind of thing here. Except I have to remember to get rid of the correct thing. See, now I don't remember what I've done. Okay, this is the one that has to go away on this side, and this is the one that has to go away on this side. Oh, did I do that wrong? I absolutely did. Oh no, I just hadn't gotten rid of this yet. Okay, hold on. It's very important that I actually remember what I said I was going to do. That seems to be a kind of common theme here. Wait, they didn't get rid of this? Huh. Okay, well, there's only so much they can do. I know I'm asking the world of them, and I'm only giving them a very, very, very small amount of resources with which to accomplish it. Okay, so that's going to go there. That's going to go there. It's also possible that this is another failed idea, and I'm perfectly willing to, you know, take the blame for that, but I am nonetheless duty-bound to make an attempt. That is the best I can do. So, now the reason I'm not going with sluices here is because I don't want this to infinitely fill forever. Putting the dam in place means that this will always be at 0.66 or whatever the decimal is, and it won't ever take anything past that. So we can kind of regulate how much goes in here by doing that. Okay, they still haven't gotten rid of that. I guess they have plenty of other stuff to occupy their time. Okay, so this one actually can't go yet because it has to have something for this other bit to stand on. Let's just make that a priority here. I also should check on how our water situation is up here, because I know at some point this is going to... Yeah, this is going to fill up enough for this to go down here. And then as soon as we get anything in the corner here... Oh, that's the only place it goes down. Okay, well, I guess that's fine. Hasn't really been that much of an issue. We just had to, you know, not be kind of stupid about it. Alright, let's triple speed this. Actually, we can 30 times speed because it's in the middle of the night. We just can't leave it on 30 times speed because that gets a whole lot of beavers killed. Yes, I did sit here for the entirety of all of these time lapses today, juggling between 30 times and 3 times speed. You're welcome. Alright, so this is finished. Good, that means that can be unpaused. And then at that point we can just take this out. It should be fine. So now, I know this is going to be ugly. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Because the amount of pools we need, if I have this written down, I should. Swimming pools. About 13 visitors for 1,000 beavers. So if I put a pool here, which I would have to move this, but one here, one here, one here, one here. That's 4 on this side, and 4 on this side. But because of how this is set up, I could put another one in this corner, in this corner, in this corner, in this corner, which would give us 12. So that should be enough, honestly. Depending on how we end up actually doing this, I know there's the needs and the capacity and whatever affect things differently depending on how the well-being works and how long beavers live and all that. But suffice to say, it is worth a shot. We just have to be able to actually do it. And of course, all of these things do take time. The other thing that... I know, you're probably sick of me saying that. The other thing that this is going to allow us to do is kind of reconfigure how this is all set up here. And I know it's probably not going to be a great thing for us to just completely redo absolutely everything in here. But it just has to get done. And I need to make sure... Yeah, see, that's going to go away there. That's going to go away there. I need to get the rest of this sealed off so I can actually have some water come in here, because it's going to, sooner or later, whether we like it or not, they're going to have some water come in right in this spot right about here. So that is going to allow us to plant some mangroves. This is going to give us still a little bit of extra space. 2 by 30 or 25 or whatever this is, times 2. And if this is an idea that, you know, doesn't work or is terrible or whatever, then you know what, that's fine. But the most important thing is that we tried. Effort matters a whole lot. Let's get that taken care of there. I think, yeah, I can just kind of leave this one here for the time being, because I do need them to be able to actually plant trees. And I know the way this is set up now, it's only going to let me plant this much. But the way this has been going, you know, we may want to just say, you know what, we don't even want to deal with mangrove fruits anymore. Because at some point it kind of becomes counterproductive. You know how this works, though. It is a process. I don't even need to say it. You already know. I do think the amount of cassava that we've got growing here is probably a little excessive. And some of this will end up going away, just so we can access all of this. Yes, it does have to be all of that there. But this side right here, we could actually, you know, just have a tubeway entrance going right into the thing there. And that would probably be pretty okay. You can just have to make room. Alright, so this farmhouse is going to move over. And that should be totally fine, because this mess has to move over as well. And that was the entrance. Actually, let's, you know, like, let's flip that so I can still use the original path piece. There we go. I just needed this to be able to go over to the side. And depending on how I want to structure this, see, that's that entrance there. Let's go here. And then this piece can go that doorway there. And then I can have another one. Actually, you know what? No, I don't need to complicate this. I just need to have this come up to the top side here. Yeah, that's going to have to be fine there. Actually, no, you know what? You know what? Because this is going to be swimming pools, I can just have a tubeway go all the way across. That needs to go here and here, all the way across to here, and then that can go there. And then here, I can... Oh, here comes the water, and we don't have this shut. Well, that's fine. It's, I guess, supposed to be like that. That can go here. Yes, very good. Yeah, see, this is going to get a little bit more complicated here, but I think I can get away... Yeah, I can get away with this. Let's put that there. Same kind of deal. This can just be... Actually, you know what? This two-way station can stay here. No, it can't. It can't. This has to go this way. I got so excited because this was going to work. This one has to go away. Because eventually this is going to be a swimming pool. I just have to have this forester actually plant trees. And they're just going to have to grow out. It is what it is. Is this out of range? Okay, that's irritating. What am I to do about that? Well, not going to be a perfect solution. Never is. If I get rid of that cassava, then I can have these other two pieces of path. That should allow me to do that. Yeah, see, everything else over here went fine. Although it is kind of a dangerous game that I'm playing here on triple speed. Where we could very well get another drought or bad tide warning. We honestly, we need a very long temperate cycle, which I guess now we're guaranteed 7 days for us to be able to refill everything. Because this is already stocking up quite nicely. I do have a deficit because we're down to 368 beavers. But our reserve reservoir, imagine that, is filling up, which is also a very good and important thing. This is good for, hopefully, at least a cycle and a half worth of watering the mangroves. And the swimming pools when we get down to it. Yeah, I think we can feel pretty good about this. Well, no one's ever going to be able to say we didn't try stuff. Even if it wasn't a perfect solution. Now, if I really, really wanted to be a glutton for punishment, I'd just layer these like this. But then we'd have to be able to have other access over here. And that's going to be more trees we can't grow. And we do, you know, contrary to popular belief, I have no proof that would or would not be a popular belief. We do want to grow trees in here. And I just need to make sure I don't need to get back in here before I put the rest of these pools in. Yeah, see, this right here is already ready to go. Come on. There we go. Well, anyway, 6 on a side, 6 on a side. Once this is all said and done, will be tremendously better for what we're attempting to do. All right, now that this is all built, this can go away, this can go away, this can go away, this can go away. Oh, boy, I love lag. This can go away, and this can go away, which means that this can go here. And these guys do still have access to most of the inside because the tubeways extend their range. But I will move this other guy right here, get rid of this. Just try to optimize as much as we can. This no longer needs to be a thing. Come on. Lag. So much lag. Okay, that can go in there. And then this middle piece here, because we now have that tubeway, can also go bye-bye. That levee will go there. They can just come through the two-way to build it. And then that should, for the most part, keep us ready to go. I know this is set to some height. I do not remember what it is. Okay, 0.75. So that will ensure that this is always deep enough until it runs out of water to fill the swimming pools and the mangroves. That being said, I'm going to lower this to 0.7, just so it's a little bit closer. Try to retain as much water up here as we possibly can. Okay, so it looks like we got the full 8 days of a temperate cycle, which is going to be very good. It's going to allow us to stock up a little bit and get as much as we can going on here. So, if I'm careful with how I do this, I can put in overhangs here and replant cassava underneath this. I think we're going to need to have all of this cassava long term when we have 1,000 beavers, assuming we ever actually get to that point. If I place this here, just pause so I can think. Yeah, that's not quite what I was looking for. Not quite. I wanted to get into this corner here with my 4x1. And then take my 6 right there. Well, I guess it's fine. If I change this to a 5, that's not going to be exactly what I was looking for, is it? I do have metal I need to be storing more of. Okay, so if I put 6 there, then I move this over this way. I guess that's about as much as I can ask for, honestly. Because I do still have to be able to get into here, but I'm going to, you know what, I'm not going to bother putting overhangs there. Because this has to be a swimming pool, if I can remember where to click on that. Yeah, and I know that looks weird, but we have the tubeway right here. That is going to mean that we can put in tubeway station here, and here, and here, and then the tubeways here, and here, and here. So it might be a little bit convoluted, but that's going to work just fine for that side. To get over here, what we're going to need to do, you know what? We don't have to live like this. We don't have to live like this at all. This is going to cost us so much less in resources if I just make branch lines from this main thing. That one's fine like that. That I can leave alone. All right, so we got, nope, that's a 2x1 because we already have that. Yeah, see oh, that's so much better. So much better. Tiny two-way station there, and then regular tubeway. Yeah, that's so much better. So much easier. Then I can just replant all those cassavas. We'll do that in due time, but I do want to take this, and then our 3x here. Oh yes, friends, this is going to be so much better. All of our beavers will be able to swim to their heart's content. And then this other side here can do pretty much exactly the same thing. Get the 2x's here and here. And then this side I am going to have to disrupt how this is set up just briefly. Do I want to come from here? I think I do, because they're going to be coming down from the top that way. Yeah, let's just put that there. Get the tubeway assigned. This goes away. This also is going to end up, once all the trees are planted. Wait a second, how is this? Oh, because it connects there. Okay, so this is only half the trees. Oh no, it's only half the trees, and this is where the hole is. Okay, well, so many problems to solve. That clearly is not going to work, so that can just be filled in unceremoniously. I love it when stuff goes sideways here. Okay, that's gonna fit there. It's not a great solution, but it's a solution that's going to work. Perfect enemy of good, etc. Okay, put that there. I've been recording this almost 3 hours. Okay, until I can do this, this is going to have to be good enough. That's what we have to work with. And we are filling our reserve reservoir. We've got 22,000 water banked, which at 350 something beavers is only going to be about 750, maybe on a bad day, 800 water consumption. So honestly, right now we've got enough stored to keep the beavers we have now alive through the maximum length. All that to say, I'm going to turn this back on, and I'm going to re-enable a few, not all, a few of the advanced breeding pods. I do only have 6 going, so let's turn on another 3. We'll see what 9 stabilizes at. We'll go for 12. We'll go for 12. We do have 49 well-being for now until we get these swimming pools actually occupiable, which will be exciting. Yeah, I hope this is going to work out better. I mean, it's entirely possible that it won't, and I was just being, you know, stupid with this, but... Wait, hold on, why are these not... Ah, see, this goes nowhere. But we have a surprise tool that will help us later, and by later, I mean right now. How is that a line from, like, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? That's awesome writing. Now, sometimes kids shows surprise you. Yeah, this, unfortunately, is just going to have to be our best bet here. Yeah, so this network on this level is objectively kind of ugly. But if it works, it works. Look at all these happy beavers swimming along. Well-being of 53. That's looking pretty nice. That wet fur bonus as well. Yeah, I know. Mangrove fruits. It's a sad story, a sad state of affairs. But we have the technology now. I have to be very careful not to delete those. Just very careful to get paths only. Because I have to be able to plant the trees. Don't get the ladder. There we go. Okay, how... Not connected by paths. I thought this was connected by paths. Why did I get rid of that? Okay. This is so sad. Oh boy, okay. Is this as far as that can go? Well, I got that side right. Yeah, let's just go for this. One more row. Okay, so they're going to start planting that. Once those are planted, I will unplant the very edge rows. And then, I guess I can take the forester out. Maybe leave this hole open in case I have to replace it in the future, but that's going to be a thing for another day. How are we looking? I know all of our extra water is going down here, which currently there, I guess technically barely is any going down. Okay, no, there it is. So it's good to have this full. We're as full as we can. I mean, I honestly can't complain about the progress of where we are. It's just we had to change so much stuff. I know it's frustrating. All right, cool. So that's 2 of those. These are not connected on purpose, but they are built. I do have 2. And yeah, I've got to have space over here, and then I've got to clear space over here. Oh, we're almost out of dirt. I forgot I had those paused. I'm so glad we checked. Let me turn one of these back on. Supply our beavers in the mud pits with some nice dirt to make mud. All right, and I have, I don't know, like half the pumps turned off at this point. I think this is fine. The water supply is going up, and I do have 22 vacancies because we have so few beavers now. But we didn't... Okay, they do keep dying to hunger, which is objectively kind of hilarious considering we have 19,000 food and there's no reason why they should be dying. It's easily accessible. I just have to chalk that up to the 30 times speed mode. But if I didn't use it, it would take me twice as long to do these. Okay. This is about, realistically, the most time I can spend on this today. I hope you're okay with the episode being shorter. And spending a little bit of time just trying to make sure we're continuing this in a viable way. Because I really do want this to succeed. I just don't have 8 hours to sit here and try to get this working. So as we enter the drought coming up here in cycle 88, this is a good time for us to say our goodbyes, get everything taken care of here. I really do appreciate you guys watching this series, giving a good feedback, constructive or positive. Always welcome. And just... you know, being supportive. It's a very long, arduous task, and it's always hard to try to figure something out in real time while you're, you know, trying to also make videos that people want to watch. So the support of all of you guys watching these, and of course the beer boosters subsidizing the channel, so I don't have to chase the algorithm or have sponsors or anything like that. I'm truly grateful for all the support. It's been a whole lot of fun. I know I've complained a whole lot about this series and water beavers, but I do still genuinely love playing this game. And I really enjoy getting to interact with you guys. So, Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and in the next video, we're going to see how long this drought is and see if our strategy for improving things has made any sort of effect. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.